right? So now we'll see regarding the Python character sets. So every programming language will have some set of the characters that are used in building a program. So Python contains words or statements which follow a sequence of characters. So if I want to frame a sentence or a statement in English, I need a use of a set of characters or set of alphabets. In the same way, in Python, if you want to write a code or a logic, you will be start with using the character sets. Such characters, we will be calling them as identifiers or the names or constants. So identifiers, names, constants, which are nothing but the building blocks of a programming language. In Python also, these are called as building blocks, which we call them as what? Character set. So Python character set mainly includes letters. So both uppercase and the lowercase alphabets can be used, and the digits starting from 0 to 9. 10 digits can be used. Along with the positives, negatives can also be used. And then special symbols like underscore, comma, underscore, this is parenthesis, we call it as parenthesis. This is underscore and this is a comma. This is a bracket and these are the braces. Plus, minus, asterisk, ampersand, cap symbol, percentage or modulo, dollar symbol, hash, every other special characters available in the keyword can be used. Single quotation and double quotations can be used. Backslash, colon, semicolon can be used. White spaces and some escape characters like slash t, slash n, slash xob, slash xoc, slash r. So these are the special characters, and space tab can also be used. So these all comes under what? Character set. Coming to the token. So Python contains sequence of instructions. Python break each statement into sequence of lexical components called as tokens. So if I write a long paragraph, so if I take this as a set of paragraph, so in order to understand this, what I am doing, if I take this all as a one set of paragraph, so whenever you read this, it becomes difficult for understanding, right? So if at all you are writing the same paragraph into some set of sentences, it becomes easy for you to understand. In the same way, in Python, whatever the program you write, it will be divided into small parts that can be easily understandable by the interpreter. So that particular small parts understandable by the interpreter, we call them as what? Tokens. So token corresponds to a substring of a statement. Large program, a small part, we call it as a token, which can be understandable by the interpreter easily. So why it has to be understandable by the interpreter? So because it has to convert that program into tokens, and that tokens will be understandable by the interpreter, where it has to convert the Python code into what? Python code into binary code, or in terms of the bytes. So what are the different types of the tokens we have? We have the keywords and one set of a token. So these are reserved words which are only meant for the compiler understanding purpose, and some identifiers are the variables which we will be using, and some operators for performing operations, and some delimiters which are used for separation of the statements, and literals. So these are all the things which can be easily understandable by the interpreter. We are calling them as what? Python tokens. And coming to the literal. So what is meant by literal? Numbers or the strings or characters appear directly in a program. So no need of using any variable, no need of assigning anything to anything. That means a variable, for a variable, no need of assigning a value. So if you want to use them, you can directly use in your program. So without any declaration, without any assignment, without any initialization, we are calling them as what? Literal. So 78 it is an integer literal, it is a floating point in literal, it is a character literal, it is a string literal. Directly we can use them. So Python also contains other literals such as what? List, tuple, and dictionary. Right? How to display literals in an interactive mode? You can directly go type whatever you want, that can be typed, and it will display as it is in an interactive mode. Just type the literal and press enter, it will display the interactive mode. Output will be displayed in the interactive mode as it is. And value and type on the literals. So data in terms of input and output, and any kind of the data can be presented in terms of what? Value. So value can be any form like literals containing numbers, characters, or the strings. So literal is nothing but a value. Okay, so the type of a value, if you want to know, then you can just use a function called as a type. So just use a function called as type and mention the value of which whose data type you want to know. So if I mention type of 1 2 3, it will give input as class int. That means this 1 2 3 is a literal of what? Integer data type. Right? Coming to the syntax. Every programming language, whenever you are learning or whenever you are writing the program in a programming language, you have to follow some rules. So that rules will be meant for effective programming and for an effective execution of your program. So some of the rules needed in Python is, it is a case sensitive. That means whenever you are using like num equal to 10 and num equal to 10. So this will be treated as one variable and this will be treated as another variable as n, and here I am using capital N. Lowercase n will be considered as one type, and this capital N will be considered as one variable. So here based upon the case sensitivity, variables can be differentiated. So other than the class and constants, all should be in lowercase. Class should start with the capital case. So if I want to create a class name is employee. So the first letter or first character of a class should be capitalized, and constants were fully capitalized. This is used to differentiate a constant and other variables in your program. So every character in a constant is fully capitalized, and all other like variable names, function names, method names, arguments, packages, module names, everything will be written in only lowercase only. So Python naming conventions. So what are all the naming constraints or naming rules we have to follow, or what are the rules we have to follow while naming a variable, while naming a class, while naming a constant, function, method, everything in the Python? What rules we have to follow? So for the packages, modules, and global variables and functions, names should be all lowercase only. And if there are two words within the name, we have to separate them as underscore. So if my function name is first function, my function name is first function, first underscore function. This way I can use, or I can write it as first without any space. I can mention it as first function, but I should not use it as first space function. This is a wrong way of naming, right? So all should be lowercase, and if there are two words in a name, it should be separated with underscore. And for the instance variables and the methods, so instance variables and the methods concept comes under the OOPS concepts. Instance variables are the variables that are related to the objects, and the methods will work with objects along with the object and dot operator. So these comes under the OOPS concepts, So the names should be what? All lowercase. Instance variables and the methods names should all the lowercase, and if there are any names with the two words, it should be separated with the underscore, right? Non-public instant variables and methods should begin what? Single underscore. So single underscore, if these are mainly public, private, protected. These are the specifiers which mainly specify the accessibility of your variables, methods, functions, everything. So access specifiers, we'll be calling them as access specifiers, that will be seen later. And next is a constant. Names must be fully capitalized, right? And the words, two words, if there are more than two words, or the two words should be separated with underscore. And coming to the classes, they should be upper camel case. Upper camel case is nothing but that means omitting the first character, all the characters should be lowercase. The first character should be what? Uppercase. The first letter of a word should be capital case. Like if I have a class name as class employee details, right? So this is one word and this is another word. The first letter of each word should be capital case. This we call it as upper camel case convention. So if we have n number of the words, the first letter of each word should be capital case. That we call it as upper camel case. Python built-in classes are typically what? Lowercase words. So if we have a built-in classes in Python, they will be lowercase words only. And exception classes should end with what? Error. So when we go with the runtime errors, which we call them as exceptions. So in Java, we used to call them as exceptions, but here we will calling them as errors, like input output exception, zero division error exception, zero division exception. But here we will be calling it as input output error, in zero division error, array index out of bounds error, like that, right? So instead of using exception, we will be using a word error here. And then method arguments, that means when calling a method, we will be passing the values to the parameters, that we call them as arguments. And the arguments, instant methods should have first argument what? Self. It should use the keyword self, like it is used for the self-referencing purpose, like this in the Java. Here we will be using the self. And the class methods should have their first argument as what? CLS. Instant methods will be called using the object dot method name, whereas the class methods will be called with class name dot method name. So these are the difference. So whenever we are declaring the methods, before the declaration of any variables or data members within a class, we call them as class methods. They will be having the scope throughout the program, throughout that particular class, whereas this object or instant methods will be having the scope only up to the existence of that particular object. After that, it will be removed from the memory. So everything by default will be public. Access specifiers will be calling this. So they will mention how to so how much so far we can access a variable or a method or a class. So accessibility, how far you can access them, that will be shown by these access specifiers. We have a public, protected, private. So the public, by default everything will be public, and for protected variable, if you want to mention any variable as any method, any function as a protected variable, then you have to use underscore variable name. If you want to mention them with as a private variable, 2 underscores variable name or 2 underscores variable name underscore. This 2 underscores we can even call it as what? Dunder, double underscore. Dunder means double underscore. So the public is a normal. If I take a variable like num, so now this is a public variable. If I take the same variable underscore num, so now this is a protected. Now this is a protected. If I take underscore double underscore num, it will be the private. So the public will be accessible throughout the class. Throughout the class it can be accessible. Protect, and with the packages also it can be accessible with the other packages. Protected will be accessible to the class and derived class and its derived class. Private is only within the class, no derived class, no other packages, right? And some of the rules and certain symbols with regard to the statements in Python are hash. So if you want to mention a single line comment, then you can use hash, and the statement like program to print sum. This is a statement, just I mentioned it as a comment. So the comments or the statements that are written for understanding, these comments won't be executed, they will be ignored by the interpreter. They are just meant for understanding purpose and for readability purpose. So this is a single line comment, and for multi-line comment you can use triple quotations. That means 3 double quotations can be used as a multi-line comment. The set of statements you can mention with the 3 double quotations opening, 3 double quotations closing. So if you open 3 double quotations, you have to close 3 double quotations. And next, for new line, so if I have multiple set of the lines, so each line I want like a printf, print statement. If I like hi, hello, /n, how are, /n, you are. Now this single line will be printed how? So hi, hello will be printed, hi, hello. Next line will be how are, next line will be you are. So this is how it prints. Line by line it goes and it will print. When there is a /n, it will separate. So it will treat it the before /n one line and after /n another line, like that. So for the displaying the output in multiple lines, you can use a /n, and backslash mainly used for the continuation purpose. Like I have a, instead of writing in a single line, if I mention like a print hi, next hello. So as there is no space here, if I mention / and then I can it will wait for the next typing. So whatever you want to type, you can type here, hello, how are, / again it will wait, you are. Now I can close. the single line, if you want to give it input in multiple lines, so as it is a screen size, based upon the screen size, instead of typing the large line, you can split it using the slash. So whenever you mention the slash at the end of any specific word, it will wait for the next word to be given by the user. Right, next is a semicolon, which is used for the joining of two statements. Like if I have like a print hello, now I want to write the another print here itself, so it will like continuously I can write n number of the statements using this semicolon. And next is a colon, which is used to separate the header line from its suit. That means if you are using the if you are using for, if you are using else, so there will be some set of the statements for all these, right? If you want to separate the condition with the statements, then you can use this colon here. So here the condition will be treated as a header, and the suit is nothing but the block of statements. In C, we used to call them as a block, which will be represented in braces, but here the normal, based upon the semicolon, whatever you mention here, and the following the indentation, you can write the suit. Statements are grouped as what? Suit. So in C, Java, we call them as a block of statements, but here we'll call them as suit. And suits are delimited by what? Indentation. That means one tab space or 4 normal spaces. Right? So Python files are organized as modules. Every Python program, we can call it as a module. You can import it in the functionality of one program into the another program using what? Import statement. Right? So the simple programs, so the same thing that I have explained before. So here hi, hello, slash n. Now it has been divided the single line into multiple lines here. So slash n, wherever it is seen, there it will cut the line into parts. And now continuation, so instead of writing the all the same line in a single whole statement in a single line, I can just, based upon the space convenient, I can mention the slash so that it will go to the next line where I can type whatever the statements I want. So this is how you can just delimit. That means separate, continuate the one statement with the another statement. Instead of line by line, side by side writing of the statements is possible using this semicolon. N number of the print statements can be written in a single line using this semicolon. It shows a continuation. So coming to the keywords, which are reserved words, whenever you are declaring a variable, you should not use the keywords. So in Python 3, we have 33 keywords. In Python 2, we used to have 30 keywords. Some of the keywords are removed and some of the new keywords have been added. So we have the 33 keywords in Python 3. So that's why we are not using Python 2, we are using the Python 3. So there are different types of the keywords, and each keyword will be having some functionality. So whenever you are using that keyword, it will be getting that functionality to your program. So that's why whenever you are declaring a variable, you should not use all these keywords for the declaration of the variables in your program. So the first keyword is AND, which is a logical operator, logical AND. So as, which is used as again alias name. That means some duplicate name or some shortcut name if you want to create, then you can use this. This is mainly used in the modules. In the modules you can use this. And this is a logical operator, logical AND. Assert, which is used for the debugging purpose. It will always return the true value. For a testing purpose, this will be used. So these keywords will be used in later. Okay, so break, which is used to break or exit the loop. So if you want to exit from the loop iterations, if some condition is satisfied, if you want to come out of a loop, then you can use this break statement. And the class, if you want to define any class, then you can use this define class, this class keyword for defining a class. And continue, which is used to continue the next iteration in the loop. So the break and the continue, we call them as loop control statements. So they will control the execution of the loop iterations. and the def, which is used to define a function. So if you want to define a function and assign a task to it or perform some action, then you can use this def keyword. So that means that is a definition of the function. And then we have the del, which is used for deleting the object. So here class and del will be used in the OOPS concept. And next we have the elif, so multiple conditional, like we have the switch case statement, else if statements. So the same functionality will be done by the elif statement in the Python. So in Python we don't have any go to, we don't have any pointer concept, and then we don't even have the switch case statements in Python. So instead of switch case we have the elif statement in Python. Next is else part, which is used for the conditional statement, like if else statements. So else is used for the conditional statements. Next, except, which is used for the exception handling. So like we have the try and catch. So instead of the catch we have the except here. And then the false, which is a boolean value. So here we have two boolean values. One is a true, next one is a false, and the T must be capital letter, F must be capital letter. And the finally the same functionality like in the exception handling in Java, here we have the finally. And the for loop, next from, which is used for importing purpose. For importing the modules or the packages we use the from, and the global to declare a variable as a global variable. And then if, which is a conditional statement. These two, if and the else, as well as elif, are the conditional statements. And the import, from import, which are used for importing purpose, for importing the module. And then in, which is used to is a membership operator. This we call it as a membership operator. We have in and not in. These two are the two membership operators. So they will check whether a value is available in a list, in a tuple, right? So next is, which is used for identity operator. It will check with the identity or address. That can be checked by the is and is not. These are the two identity operators in Python. And the lambda is a anonymous functions, so single line functions without name. The functionality and the action which we define without a name of that particular functions, we can call them as lambda. None, that means returning the null value. Okay, so non-local, so similar to that of a global, but there is some differences that we will see. And the non-local variable, if you want to declare it, then we will be using a keyword non-local. Next to not, which is a logical operator, or which is another logical operator. Pass, which is not available in any other programming languages, but it is available in Python, which is used to pass the execution to some other place within the program. It will reserve some space in for your program in the memory. Next, raise, which is used like the throw keyword we have in Java. The same, we use raise here to raise an exception. Next is for returning, we have the return statement and return keyword, and true is a boolean value. Try, which is used to same as a try in Java. For exception handling, we will be using the try. While, which while loop, with is used for the exception handling. Some, if you want to pass some arguments, we will be using the with. And yield, which is same as that of a return, but it will return multiple values. So return statement will return single value, but it will return multiple values. So this is how the is keyword, which is a function method, which is used to check whether a specific variable which we use is a keyword or not. For a keyword or not, if you want to check, then you can use is keyword. This has been available in the package called as keyword. So first, whenever you want to use these types of the methods in build functions methods, you have to first import the package of it, and then using the dot operator of it, then you can use it. So import keyword keyword dot is keyword of as. So this, I want to check whether this is a keyword or not. If it is a keyword, it will return true. If not, it will return the false. If there is before the method, that means it will return only the boolean values, that means true or false, right? So keyword dot is keyword as a capital letter. This is it a keyword? No, that's why it has written value as false. Now if you want to list all the keywords available in Python, so just use the property as kw list. This we call it as a property, not a method. So keyword dot kw list, it will list all the keywords. This is the representation of the list. Representation of the list will be in the brackets. So every keyword that is been available in the Python will be displayed as a list of keywords, right? So this is a way of importing, or else you can even go with the from. So here whenever you are using from, no need of using keyword dot, directly you can use the property and you can call it. So it will display all the keywords available. And now as, how it is being used, as it is the package name NumPy. So I no need of using the name. So if there is a bigger name for the package, it becomes difficult for you to use it in everywhere in your program. So in order to reduce that, what I am doing is I am giving some shortcut name for this as NP. Now wherever the NumPy is needed, I can just use NP. So import NumPy as NP. So now the functionality of NumPy will be given to the NP. Now NP will be used for the functionality of NumPy everywhere in my program. So no need of writing the module name everywhere or the package name everywhere in your program. Just you can mention NP. So A equal to NP dot array of, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now it will create an array 1 2 3 4 5 6 values. Create an array NP. Now NP, whenever you are using NP, so internally NP will be replaced with what? It will be replaced with NumPy, right? So next is a assert keyword. As I mentioned, it is used for debugging purpose. It will return true every time. So assertion error, if at all it is being giving any false value, then in that case it will return an exception called as assertion error. So x equal to hello, assert x equal to hello. So as I already mentioned, x value is hello. Now I am taking x equal to, checking whether this is a true or false. It is a true, so no exception has been raised, it has been considered. So whenever you are performing some testing process, then in such case you will be using the assert. So you will be testing that always the system should give or should be run without any errors, right? So that's why we will be using assert. Here also we will be using assert for checking the true all the time. So assert x equal to goodbye. So as x value is hello, is it equal to goodbye? False. So it will be giving assert error exception. Next is a global keyword. So if you want to declare a variable as a global, inside or outside. So global variable is like it can be accessed inside or outside of the function. So this is the function definition using the keyword def. This is the name of the function. So function without any parameters, right? So this is a header. This is a header. Next, this is a suit. This is a suit. So this is indentation, spacing. We call it as indentation, this particular spacing. These all statements belongs to this particular function, global x. Now x is a global variable. So outside of the function also, these statements comes under the outside of the function. Now if at all I am saying, so num function, so from here the control goes here, global x equal to 10, x inside it will be printing 10 here. Now after the function call it comes here, now it will be printing the value as 10. If I don't mention global here, then automatically here it will give the error value, right? So as I mentioned global x, the x value will be accessible inside this particular numfun as well as outside this particular function numfun. Next is a non-local. So function within the function, if at all you have like nested thing, then in such a case you can use this non-local, saying that a particular x is not local to this particular in, it will inner function. So in the function outer, I have defined a variable called as x equal to 200. Now in the function inner, I have mentioned this particular x as non-local and x equal to 10, print inner x, inner, print outer. So first the control goes from here to where, this particular. Now it has been mentioned it as non-local x equal to 10. What it will print? 10 will be printed. Now outer x value is, I am mentioning it as non-local. That means I am not mentioning it as a global, but it is not local to the inner function. It can be accessible to the outer also. Now what will be the output of this? It will be the 10 and it will be the 10. If I don't mention any non-local here, then it will print error here. Error will be printed. Okay, so this is how. So use nested functions whose local scope is not defined, right? So that is a use of non-local. Next, coming to the yield, will return a generator. That means a bulk of statements can be returned using the yield. So the return statement will return only one value, whereas yield will return multiple values. So here the definition of the function is cube underscore numbers. I want to pass a list of numbers, and for each number it has to print the cube, right? So cubes equal to cubes of number. This is a function call. From here it goes here. Here I have taken I in num. So first one I will be taken as 1 in num, is the condition is 1 in num. Condition is true, that's why it comes here. So the num will be assigned here, right? Now is condition is true, entering into the loop. Within the loop, what is the statement have mentioned? Yield I into 3. That indicates it is the power 1 to the power of, that means 1 cube equal to what? 1. So it will be printing the 1. Next it will be 1. Next what? 2. I will be, now this is I, 2 in nums. Condition is true, so 2 cube, what is the output? 8. Next I value will be the 3, so 3 in nums. Condition is true, so 3 cube will be 27. Next I will be 4, 4 in nums, 4 in nums. So 4 cube is what? 64. So next I value will be 5, 5 in nums. Condition is true, so 5 cube is 125. Next, is there any I value? No, cancel. So after that, after this it comes out here, and within the cubes what have been available now? Within the cubes, so everything will be stored here. Now the value will be what? 1 comma 8 comma 27 64 125. So now after this assignment, it comes to the statement below it. What it is there? So I will be initialized with 1, so it will print the 1. Next what is there? 8, so it will print 27 64 125 will be printed. So print statement by default, it will be having the /n functionality. Each and every value will be printed in a line by line manner, not side by side, right? So this is the use of the yield. So the same program with the return, what it has been given, int object is not iterable, so that means return will return only single value, right? So thank you. So coming to this particular identifiers, this will be seen in the next recording. Thank you.